Goeiemorgen, good morning and welcome. In America, I take part in a medieval reenactment group called the SCA, the Society for Creative Anachronism. A large gathering by this group is called a war, and in November I attend the Great Western War in California. Each of the households of the group I camp with take a turn cooking dinner, and for my dinner this year I decided to cook a South African feast. There were some restrictions. I wanted to be able to pre-cook as much as possible since all the cooking happens on gas camp stoves. So I chose bobotie with rice, a boerewors roll with smoor, and koeksisters for dessert. For a midnight feast, I would fry up some samosas. I have been sharing each of these recipes in individual videos, so please subscribe and let me know if you try any of them. A friend of mine calls South African samosas the best in the world, and she should know she has lived and traveled to over 100 countries. I personally find most non-South African samosas to be way too doughy. I love the crisp, crunchy wrapping and the subtle curry flavor in South African samosas. When we were in South Africa earlier this year, we ate so many samosas. We ate fancy ones at the Time Out Market and basic ones from Pick n Pay. We bought them at farm stalls and tourist traps, and we loved them all. My breakthrough with thinking I could make my own samosas came when I read that I could use spring roll wrappers for that same crispy, thin exterior. And all that remained was to learn how to wrap a samosa. As with so many South African recipes, start with browning some onions. Then add the spices, making very sure not to burn them. Set aside. To add potatoes or to not add potatoes. I like potatoes in my samosas, and I've been told that this is a budget thing. If you're trying to stretch your samosa as far as possible, you add some potatoes. While you're browning your onions and spices, you cook your potatoes. I just prick some holes in them and then put them in the microwave for about 6 minutes. Once they cool down just a little bit, I cut them into small cubes. Brown the ground beef and pork. You could just use pork, but once again, this is a budget thing. Pork is a lot cheaper than beef, and I think it adds some more fat. If you use just beef, don't get the expensive low fat. A little bit of fat helps to keep it from being too dry, and since it's in a pocket, the fat won't just drain off. Make sure that while you're cooking your meat, you keep breaking it up so there is no large chunks. Once the Once the meat is cooked through and a little bit browned, add the onions, the spice mix, and the potatoes. Mix it all well. I always smush the potatoes a little bit so that there's smaller chunks of potatoes. Mix it well and cook it for a few more minutes to incorporate everything. Now let everything cool. In America, you can get spring roll wrappers in either large or small sheets. I found the small sheets to be a lot easier to fold and stuff, but I already had some of the large sheets, so I used them too. Keep a damp cloth or paper kitchen towel over the wrappers while you're working to keep them from drying out. Cut the large sheets into 3 strips. There are several ways to fold the wrapper to get the triangle shape, and you just need to try them all to see what works for you. And then practice. Try as much as possible to have nice sealed corners. Open corners cook badly, and you lose the fat, making the filling drier. Use some water to seal the final flap. Some recipes will tell you need a flour and water mix, and this is great, but I found that just water sealed them up perfectly fine. You can freeze your samosas. To keep them from sticking together, lay them on a baking tray in the fridge for about 10 minutes while you're folding the next tray, and then put them in a Ziploc bag. You can deep fry, shallow fry, or bake your samosas. Experiment with the temperature of the oil. You want it warm enough that the samosas crisp up without turning them black. You can also bake it in the oven at 350 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes, or stick them in the air fryer for 10 minutes. I love the air fryer. In 10 minutes, I can have a relatively healthy South African snack that takes me back home.